Hi, welcome back here at the Tech Week booth. You're watching Startup Live in partnership with Tech Week. I'm Arabella Santiago. I'm here with Zack Davis. He is one of the co-founders of Stylitics. It's a New York City-based startup. And Zack, I'll let you talk more about your startup.
Yeah, sure. So Stylitics, we started the company about a year and a half ago. Really in the last 4 or 5 months have sort of brought it into the mainstream marketplace. We weren't a private beta up until just a week ago or so, and now we're a public beta open to all users and to anybody who wants to try the site. In short, what Stylitics is a platform or website for you as a consumer to manage your style in a smarter, more connected way. What we do is we give people intelligence and information back about the clothes items they own, brands they wear, things that they have favorited or along the way, and we've really built up the mantra "Your Style Smarter" behind everything we do. So everything is about giving you as a user and as a consumer a lot of information. We give people incentives to participate, so we have rewards programs, we have celebrity stylist programs, and that sort of runs in conjunction with the utilities that we have as a company and as a platform that just make it a fun and engaging experience. We show you trends around your own items, we show you trends around what the community is doing and wearing. Soon you'll be able to search out other cities, like say what brands are popular in Paris today, what's being worn in Los Angeles. And we're all about giving the information back to the user and making it a very rich, compelling experience.
And so how did you come up with this idea?
Well, both my business partner Rohan and I really come from a big consumer engagement background. I was in the music business, one of the very first digital distribution companies in the US. I left there, and doing some artist management, I left there to join this mobile startup where Rohan was out. He was one of the very first employees, and we built some of the early mobile technology that a lot of companies use with texting to screen and texting to win, messaging around texting and mobile, which was very big in 05, 06 as it was growing in America. And so a couple of years ago, well, I guess we always, on one note, we always wanted to do something together, and we're just looking for opportunities along the way. Even back then, as we grew and had time on our hands, what could we do? We're bouncing ideas. And a couple of years ago, we reconnected and started talking around style and how the industry, and the fashion industry especially, although there's a lot happening right now, how it's a very it's a slow progressing industry as far as technology goes and change, and even a lot of major media companies and fashion brands right now are still growing out their digital teams for the first time. And so we were looking in our own closets and saying, we want more information about the clothes we have. I want to know what brands I'm loyal to. I would like to quickly, view digitally, what items fit me well, and as I'm making purchase decisions, be able to utilize some of that information. And so it all started around the information as a consumer wanting that, and then also looking at the industry and sort of validating that as something the industry wants to give them better information, and that's where our business model evolved from.
And so I'm guessing that you moved to New York City because of the fashion industry there, and this would be a fit?
Yeah, I actually moved when I ended up coming to New York. I moved for another position that I was working at, and my business partner Rohan was still in business school at Penn, at Wharton. And we were pursuing the idea, but it was somewhat of a passion play, and it was on the side. We both had other primary responsibilities, but we were very interested in it. And as we kind of evolved and the business got a little bigger, and we got into the business plan competition at Wharton, and we ended up winning that, which was a little bit of a launch pad into us saying, wow, this is more real. I wanted to come to New York personally for a couple of reasons. One, as I knew this idea was on the back burner, and it was something that we work with media, we work with agencies, we work with big brands and retailers, and New York's the center of the world for that. So that was always there. And then one, just kind of being at the epicenter of everything happening in things I was interested in, which was tech and fashion and media and sort of the same things. And so after we won the business plan competition, it was sort of a no-brainer to let's pursue this, let's really push this out. We had vetted it along the way with a lot of entrepreneurs and investors and people in the fashion industry saying, is this a relevant business? Will consumers do it? And that's how the business sort of kind of jumped to that next level.
And so who is your developer on your team?
We have a handful of developers. We have some really terrific developers. We're fortunate. And our team is growing too. We're hiring right now. But we have, I'd say, 8 to 9 developers total, including our full-time developers and our part-time developers. And so we have guys that work out of New York occasionally. We have guys in Philadelphia. We have guys in California, Los Angeles. We have people abroad working for us. So for us, it's the most efficient way to get things done. Have have people, obviously different price points, different time zones, people sort of around the clock working on the vision. And Rohan, my business partner, again, he oversees product development and the innovation of the technologies that we're building.
So have you raised funding from mainly New York City investors or outside of that?
Yes, so we have raised capital. The majority of our investors, all except one, are based in New York City. Mostly all angel investors, so they invest, typically in a couple of things a year versus a big institutional firm. We do have one investor who is more of she has her own fund and more of an institutional investor from San Francisco. And she's a terrific woman and has a lot of great investments. So we're fortunate to have a incredible investment group or investment team, I guess, that make up retail, fashion, analytics, operations, and also just big business. And so it sort of covered all the areas we wanted to cover as we were going out to raise this last round.
And so your session at Tech Week is about style and fashion 2.0, okay? And maybe that's a trite word for that, but, term. But I mean, there is definitely this sort of new crop of startups in the fashion industry. They're coming out of New York City, for example, Rent the Runway, Guild Group. Are they in New York City also? Or
yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about this new age of style, fashion, and technology?
Well, I think it's a Guild Group is a big retailer. Rent the Runway also a retailer. I mean, and I would even say Guild Group's new, considering all the things as quickly as everything's moving. And I think they've been around since '07. But there are a lot of companies evolving day to day. We know just from being in this entrepreneurial environment and in New York that we know a ton of companies that are coming up, and I think it's exciting. On the entrepreneur side of me, thinks it's really exciting because there's a lot of interesting things happening, and we're sort of in the middle of it all. So it's just I feel like it's just one of those moments in time where a lot's happening at once, and in a couple of years that may not be the case because in a certain sense it'll bubble up, and some companies will evolve and some companies won't. For us, what's really exciting is we see ourselves working with a lot of these companies. We're really building out the platform, the data that lies sort of underneath a lot of the apps and the wish lists and the fit-based apps that are happening. We think we can work together in a lot of different ways, so we're really excited. And Rent the Runway and Guild, two companies that we know very well and that we talk to regularly. I actually spoke with Rent the Runway folks this morning. So
do you see any other companies like yours in the fashion industry that look at more like analytics and data?
Well, big data is everybody's saying it, and I think everybody's looking at data and trying to figure out how to monetize it and optimize it. And there are a couple of companies that play in fields that cross over into our circle a little bit. Nobody's doing what we do. Nobody's really focused on giving the consumer back that information and data that I know of, and I'm sure there are some companies that are thinking about it or deciding how to do it. I think we're fortunate that we have a really smart team and we have really good people, and we're as interested as we are in what's going on around us. We keep an eye on it. We're really focused on our company and pushing that forward, and right now we sit in a space that I feel really comfortable and excited about.
I think it's interesting too that at this point, because of APIs and the ability to tap into other databases, you don't have to start this from the ground up. You were just talking about before, this is a move away from user-generated content. I mean, people can use your site and they can already find their clothing there. And why do you think this is important and a special sauce to your business?
Well, I mean, we're still somewhat user-generated content, but in a way that I think is a little more savvy, and even moving into a more savvy being that it's very easy and a rich experience for a consumer. So if you add an item into our profile or into your platform or into our platform or your profile, which is completely private to a user, it gives you a lot of rich data and information back about that item or about that brand, how much you own from that brand, how brand loyal you are, and you can see your own trends and information around it. And I think, for us, that's the future. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of things happening, not just in fashion and tech, but in tech in general and in social media. And everybody's got a voice, but we think what's important is your voice and the way you want to customize your life. And that's what we're doing, is trying to give you a tool as a consumer to be able to make better decisions, be able to understand how, the things you wear and the styles you love and the icons you're into, even some of the qualitative stuff, how that impacts your style and how that's represented.
Excellent. Well, this was a really interesting interview. Thank you so much, Zach. And if people want to sign up to Stylitics, where should they go?
Stylitics.com. It's Stylitics.
And your Twitter handle?
It's at Stylitics. It's at Facebook at Stylitics. It's all Tumblr. Stylitics. We own that. We own the domain, obviously, but Stylitics, again, style and analytics, and it's all about giving the information back to the consumer.
Well, thank you so much, Zach. And you're watching Startup Live in partnership with Tech Week.